Welcome to another episode of The Weight of the World. I'm today with Dan Meredith. I apologize in advance in terms of the quality of the video. Dan is a bit like a wild animal. It doesn't like to be filmed. So we just arranged to Zoom meet and this is what you get today. But nonetheless, it's very, very valuable. One of my favorite episodes so far. We talked about time currency, energy flow, and a little bit about Dan's background and his transformation with his business and his life and his fitness. I hope you enjoy it. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification button. I'm Julian Salai and this is The Way of the World. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
What are you working on at the moment?
Right now, I am training literally at the moment. So actually, a lot of my focus is on my sort of health and fitness goals. Set myself some crazy challenges when it comes to doing some boxing. Gonna throw myself in to do a sprint triathlon, having never done one before, and a few other nutty little things like that. But I'm just coming to the end of that sort of cycle now. I kind of work in 3-month blocks with one key goal to work on. So that was the end of this kind of like fitness and health cycle. Next 3 months is all about business. So I'm relaunching my coaching group. I'm writing my new book. There's a couple of new e-commerce products that I've been working on for about 6 months that are going live, and a new coaching business as well. So yeah, that's all next.
How do you feel about the new things that you're releasing?
Yeah, good, mate. To be honest, I've spent the last year focusing on really, obviously, for those of you who don't know, which is probably a lot of you, short version, run over by a car, had to get a metal hip fitted. So it's all about rehab and getting myself back to my best and beyond. So I've spent the last year like consuming a lot, seeing what's working, learning from people, having conversations. So yeah, I feel very confident in everything. And the thing is, I'm also not attached to the outcome. So let's just say I launch those 4 things, 2 of them absolutely skyrocket, 1 mid-table, 1 absolutely in the shitter. It's just data. So I see everything as just data now. So if it works, fantastic. Let's see if we can repeat that again. If it doesn't, then okay. What can we learn from it? What did we do? What didn't we do? What was the message? How could we have done it better? How could I have pushed it harder? So yeah, I'm not attached to any outcomes. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to put the best possible version of everything out there, and then the market will decide.
Did you always have this kind of attitude towards failure, or did that change over the years?
That's sure. That is actually a really good question. It's something I've definitely improved on. I've never seen myself as a failure. If I fail at something, I'm just like, that failed. Yeah. I would say when I was younger, I would beat myself up about it a little bit more. But as I've got older and just, connecting with better people, different business owners, so on and so forth. I'm a big fan of gut feeling. It's obviously your subconscious is a very powerful tool. And so, when you get that kind of feeling about someone and you can't quite put your finger on it, and then often it tends to be right. I use my gut in business as well, but I kind of now balance that with the data element as well. Yeah. So if like I said, I look at, was my gut right? And then the data will show me if it was or wasn't. So it's a good kind of self-reflection thing, but it's definitely something I've practiced. And the key thing is that I have been doing honestly for a long time is I'm not attached to the outcome. I will do everything right to the best of my abilities. I will hire coaches. I'll invest in people. I'll read books, do courses. I'll stack the decks in my favor, and then I'll just put that to work. And if it, it should eventually yield the results that I'm looking for. But it's just the more I practice things, the more I do things, the more I try things, the quicker I sort of come back from failures. I'm like, cool, that didn't work, but that did. Right, double down on that, get rid of those 2, add those in, off we go again. So yeah, it definitely got better with time. But I will say that key thing is just because you failed at something, it doesn't mean you're a failure. That's the key thing. Is not, you don't anchor.
You don't identify with the events. Yeah,
exactly. Sure. Don't anchor your happiness, success, worth, value, self-love, whatever, to an outcome. As soon as I stopped doing that, actually everything got better. So I did well anyway. But when I sort of started saying, kind of fuck it, I'm just going to focus on doing my best job, serving people, delivering. And that was that. Then the business stuff, which I was thinking, if I don't hit these numbers, I'm a fucking piece of shit. Nonsense head trash. Well, I actually ended up hitting them by focusing on my output and serving and delivering.
And you also touched on, you said that you're not attached to the outcome. I think that's because obviously, like we know that expectations kind of kill the joy a little bit.
Hmm.
Because even if you do have expectations and what you do meets the expectations that you had, it's still disappointing to an extent. So I think if you go into something, especially if it's something new, without having too much expectations, that's definitely going to help with enjoying whatever comes from it.
I mean, think about yourself, right? Obviously, you've achieved some, phenomenal physique changes. When you achieved your like peak physique that you thought you wanted, did you feel were you a different person? Was anything majorly better? Did you feel humongously different, or was you like, yeah, just done the thing?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I don't think, but I don't think there's any been there's been any cathartic moment where I was like, okay, I'm done or I've
Yeah.
achieved. You know, I think especially with like physique transformation is something that is just so gradual over time that you don't even
Mm,
necessarily perceive the win in itself, unless you're
yeah.
really prepping for a competition or a show and
Exactly.
of some kind. But yeah, for sure. How do you feel your relationship with fitness changed over the years? Because obviously you started in fitness and now,
Yeah, I
yeah.
started in so my career is sort of flip flop between corporate and fitness. I ended up being, a director of a very large, big fitness chain. I still own my own gym, still running to this day, nearly 10 years old now, completely runs without me. I sort of flip flop between sort of recruitment, corporate sales, consulting, and personal training, managing gyms, that sort of stuff. I kind of went back and forth between the two. Um, I will say this now. Everything trends up in all areas of my life when I have, outside of, connecting with my family, relationships, friends, the human connection. So that's massively fucking important and was missing from my life for a bit. I focused too much on business, but having my relationship with sort of health and fitness now is the healthier, and I'm going to say realistically leaner. So not like, yourself or sort of stage stuff. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I can see 5 abs. So I can see the top 4 and the bottom 2 are kind of, they've just joined together at the moment. And I'm not saying it's all about the 6-pack or anything like that, but I'm lean, I'm healthy, I'm fit. My body works. I do things. I can box, I can lift, I can jump, run heavy. I can do ring stuff. I can do all manner of cool shit, which I couldn't do before. Um, it's bled into my business life and my personal life massively. I'm pretty confident anyway, but I'm like even more so now. But the main thing is because I've had these real strong fitness goals for a while, I've got really good at cutting out stuff that doesn't serve me. So pointless conversations, chit chats, maybe spending time with certain people or places that don't necessarily. I've been so fucking tired whilst I've been doing this because I've really pushed it. I've just had to cut out stuff that doesn't serve me.
Mhm.
But now, I mean, because I'm training for a specific date, so I'm kind of a bit extreme at the moment.
Mhm.
But I know even just prior to kind of dialing it down for this, my business has improved. My clarity of thinking has improved. I sleep better. I operate better. I've earned more money. I've connected with higher caliber people. I'm not saying that the people I've connected with are low caliber. I've just made really good connections. And I believe that people have perceived me in a different way. And I'll say this because I don't know your audience. So I'm going to be very mindful of this. I really do believe you can be whatever you want to be. You can be absolutely built like a fucking rhinoceros, shredded. You can be bigger. You can say, fuck it, I'm going to eat whatever they want and just deal with it. Whatever size you want to be, super up to you. It's your life, your body, you can do what you want with it. But I have found people also, since I have got, a little leaner and more muscular, and I look like I look after myself now. People treat me differently.
Mhm.
There's more authority, there's more respect, and it's not something that I demand. I hope this doesn't come across as really arrogant. I'm
No,
not
no,
that
no.
sort of
Of course.
person. But people, I've just found people have, sort of noticed me more and sort of had more credit because the fact of the matter is my whole brand is about getting shit done and doing the work. That's what I talk about. And I felt before I went on to this next stage of my career that I actually needed to apply those principles to my health and my fitness and my physique because, yeah, not looking to get on any stage, not competing in anything, massive respect to those that do because it is, do you know what? Fuck macros and count them. Fuck them. Honestly, fair play to you. For those of you that compete or on stages with your physiques who are listening to this, massive hats off because it's misery. Okay,
Mm.
but I've had a glimpse of it. and that's it, I'm done. But what I'm saying is that discipline that I got from all that has allowed me to get into, fairly all right shape for a 42-year-old guy. And it's definitely, people perceive me in a different way. And if I'm going to be telling people about getting shit done and doing the work and stuff, and they don't have to do this in the entrepreneurial space, but I wanted to apply my own principles to myself. And I thought I should be like a billboard for my own work. So I've done it with the business. I've built the businesses. I've proven I can do it there. So I thought, right, I'm going to keep applying those same principles to other areas of my life and see what happens. And it's been really positive.
Absolutely. And obviously, like, this is a place that you got to. So what I'd be interested in is how did you go about making that decision? If there was any turning point where you said, okay, I need to change things up, because obviously once you build the momentum and you get to where you are right now, you can really see the benefits, and the benefits can kind of outweighs are
we talking in the fitness health capacity? Is that what you're talking about? Or
more in the from a mindset perspective, because I feel like that's it's more of an inner choice than it is just based on the fitness.
Okay.
You feel like there was any turning point for you?
There was a couple. When it comes to there's two things when it came to the fitness. One's quite funny. I was at my mum's house. I was in the bathroom. It's not going to be a disgusting conversation, don't worry, but the person who used to have the bath before was disabled. So they had a lower down mirror, sat on the toilet, and I just looked to the left and I saw myself. And I honestly, there were some rolls that I wasn't, we all have rolls in skin and stuff, but I looked like someone had taken an ice cream cone and just dumped it upside down. And I looked at that and I thought, yeah, that's a strong look. And I thought, cool, that's not what I want to be bringing to, the world. That's not how I want to look. And that was just kind of like a visual one. But the main one was after I got run over. And then I had I didn't know that had a hip injury. And I remember I was limping. I was in pain all the time. And I was just like, fuck, is this my life now? And I remember taking really aggressive steps, thinking, right, fuck it, I'll do what I have to do, pay what I need to do to have it get sorted. Turns out I need a new hip. So I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to get it done. Just going to get it done and bite the bullet. And I remember, literally, it's a year, as of recording this, it's a year and a few weeks ago till I had my hip replaced. And I'm in the best shape I've been in probably since my late 20s.
Wow.
I remember lying in bed, probably off my tits on morphine, looking down at my leg thinking, do you know what? I'm not letting this defeat me. And they were telling me, you'll be on a Zimmer frame for this amount of days, crutches for this days, you'll be walking. And I went, nah, I'll beat it. And I set myself these quite ridiculous goals. I was walking without crutches within a week and a half, which should have been like 3 to 4 weeks. And I did my first jog 3 weeks after that, and then I did my first deadlift, I think, about a week after that as well. My surgeon is one of the best in the UK. He's really, really good. He did not advise this, but I had I sought out the best advice and best experience I could. And again, we're not talking like heavy deadlifts here, but I said to myself, I am not going to allow this injury to define me. And that was it.
It might be a bit of a difficult question, but what do you think made a difference? Because obviously there's some people that in a situation like that would have reacted completely the opposite way. So where do you think that decision came from? And how do you think one can go about making a decision like that?
For me, I've obviously always got, I've always got to be mindful of the fact that I need to be, healthy and fit and able for my little sister. I don't know if I explained at the start of the podcast at all, but my little sister, brain damaged. She's not little. I mean, she's 40 this year, but she's like a little kid in her head, and obviously has some real difficulties with life. And I thought to myself, I need to be as fit and healthy and as strong, successful, abundant with time and money as I can. And if I'm in pain all the time, that's going to be harder. So I thought, right, I'll attack it head on instead of, hiding away from the horrible things, the tough conversations, the hard work, the fucking miserable as piss rehab. I just did it and I attacked it head on. And now anytime something that I'm afraid of, or it's an obstacle, or it's something that is holding me back, I take a little pause and I try and reflect on it. I'll write it out. Why? Are my thoughts real? Is it something that I really should be doing? Am I just being a lazy shit? Is it a genuine fear, something that could go wrong? And I address those. So I usually write that out, then address it the next day. And then I come up with the simplest actions that I can take to start moving me forward. So I don't go crazy big. I'm going to fucking do all of this at the same time. I just say, right, what actions can I take daily, weekly, and monthly that are going to get me moving in that direction? And that's what I do. And when it comes to the mindset of it, it's a case of, I said to there's a few little things I said. It's like, are you happy staying where you are? So if I'm happy with this, income, relationships, finance, friendships, connection, impact. If I'm, and I've got to be honest with you, last couple of years, I've been at a really great place. So bar that the physical side was the challenge, but business, work, connections, friendship, beautiful, lovely, really good space. So I was able to actually dedicate time and resources to that. Now that that's done, as I said, my next phase is business. But I get honest with myself. It's like, what do I want? Why do I want it? How much do I want it? I kind of ask myself these questions when I'm about to embark on a new thing. And it's that whole is the pain of change versus the pain of staying the same. And once one outweighs, and if one's outweighing the other, obviously in the positive direction, I look at what my mentor calls like first, second, third order consequences. So if I stay where I am, well, what happens right now? What happens maybe in a month or two time? What happens in a year to 5 years time if I don't make these changes now? And there's a book I've got over there, which is based on a similar thing, but I have this little, there's two little phrases that I literally say to myself out loud or in my head. First one is, if I don't want to do something, okay? So if I don't want to do it, I will say, or something that's really hard, more on the physical training side lately, it's like, you cannot complain about the results you haven't got for the work you didn't do. There's a little thing I say to myself when I am grinding out training or wanting to fucking go on Deliveroo and snort fucking pizza. And it's like, nope. Obviously all those things are fine in moderation and in time, but I've got a very specific goal there. But that's what's been going through my head lately when I have been doing, hard training, hard sparring, doing things totally out of my comfort zone. I can't complain at the results if I'm not prepared to do the work. And the second one is, future you will thank you. And those two phrases I say to myself throughout the day, because future you, and for those of you listening, so I'm 42. How old are you, Julian?
29.
29. Okay. I said this to my boys. So my boys who run my gym, same age as yourself. And as I remember having chats with my friends in their late 30s and 40s, before you know it, you're 30, and then before you know it, you're 40. Shit whips past quicker the older you get. It's like a time perception thing, because the more time you've had go past you, you can kind of perceive time in a different way. Obviously, time isn't changing, but you perceive it. It was Christmas 2 weeks ago. It's fucking May in a day's time or something. Yeah. It just whips past. So the version of you right now might not be happy. And I say to it, if you're not happy or you're not where you are, okay, doesn't mean you're a failure. Doesn't mean it's a data point. This is just where you are right now. Yeah. If you stay there, then you're going to, if you don't do any changes, that data is probably going to decline. Or you can send it on an incline. So what do you need to do to start moving it forward? And I just keep reminding myself that future me is going to turn up at some point. And is future me, I'm looking back now at a Dan a year ago who genuinely was not depressed, but was in a lot of pain, wasn't happy, felt sorry for myself at times, but I still did it knowing that this Dan right now one day would be here. And I am so fucking grateful for that Dan, because he did a load of shit that I didn't want to do. But now this Dan, current me, this version of my reality is reaping the rewards of that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
absolutely. I mean, that's one of the most important traits of like successful people. Obviously, you've got to define what success is, but delayed gratification versus like quick satisfaction is really what makes the difference. And I think you can only do that if you develop some sort of relationship with yourself in the future, and you can kind of project yourself forward, which is obviously something that, when you're perhaps a bit younger, it's a bit more difficult to do, or if you haven't necessarily experienced a situation in which you're hurting or suffering, or you're just experiencing some discomfort, because obviously the urgency of coming out of discomfort is really going to be the biggest motivator for you to actually move your ass and do something about it. But
and I will say, if you've got age on your side, I spoke to someone the other day. He's 33. Business turns over, good multiple six figures, doing very, very well. Worried about his future. And I was like, mate, I started at 33. I started this at 33. So if you're listening to Julian and myself now and you're thinking, well, I'd like to achieve X, maybe I'd like my own business, maybe I'd like my physique to look a certain way, maybe want to, go online and travel the world. If you're listening and you've got age on your side, there's never a better time to doing it. A lot of the stuff that is available to you now didn't exist when I was doing this. Certain TikTok wasn't even fucking around when I started. Snapchat was new. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm showing my age here. Facebook was the exciting place to be when I first got on social media. So things change. Like, now is the time. Like, you've got, you might not have money at the moment as much. And obviously, as you get older, I hope wish you all the best of success, but you've got time and energy right now. And I promise you, I mean, I do feel good. I know I said I was a bit tired right now, but I feel fantastic. But I definitely feel different to when I did in my 20s, my 30s. There's, I'm a little more tired. Things are a little more difficult than they used to be. Not much, but you do notice a slight change in energy. So if you've got youth on your side, now is the time to be like learning skills, putting yourself out there, trying new things, improving yourself, reading books, listening to podcasts, launching stuff. Like, honestly, it's a wonderful time to be younger and with the assets you've got available to you. You can build a business, change your life for free. For free. Never before have we had access to such information and experts and quality advice than we have right now. It's a golden time to be alive. Golden time.
So if you were to go back in time and speak to your younger self, what would you tell them?
Start sooner, mate. Honestly, be less afraid of what other people think. I didn't put myself out there because I didn't think I had maybe much to offer, or I thought people would laugh at me or give me shit. I'm not naturally a confrontational person. I don't enjoy confrontation. I'm quite good at it if I have to be. But it's just, a lot of people are worried about the what if monster. What if I look like a dick? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? So fucking what? Honestly, most people are too wrapped up in their own lives, their own problems, their own issues. Like, people aren't really thinking about you as much as you think. And I just wish I'd have just literally tried things sooner, put myself out there, sort of given shit a go sooner with absolutely no expectation of it working. I wish I just tried stuff. Put myself out there. Yeah. I'm glad I started when I did. I started at the right time to do what I've done on Facebook. But now, again, there's certain platforms that, yes, it would have been better to have started at certain times, but you know how things quickly can change. If you keep putting yourself out there and showing up, your life can look totally different a year from now, just like mine is. So yeah, I would have said, put myself out there, show up, do more sooner.
Would you say when you were younger, you were more wary of taking risks than you are now? Or?
No, when I was very hard. I've had a very successful career. I don't come from much sort of working class family. That Anna, my little sister, a lot of resources got taken up with that. My dad is not with us anymore, but instilled into me very much a value of hard work and a work ethic. And more hours you work, more money you make, which is true to a degree. I've learned how to work smarter as I've got older, as we often do. But I am really lucky that he instilled that work ethic into me, because it was that hard work that gave me the backbone to what I have now. And I am really sorry, and I do this sometimes, but what was the question again? I went off on what I call a tangent there, so I will circle back.
It's fine. It's all valuable, very valuable stuff. No, I was just wondering if you were more wary of taking risks.
Yes.
When younger.
Yeah, because I was employed. I did very, very well in a kind of corporate structure for quite a lot of period of time. I wasn't worried about trying risks within the job. I'd always push my boundaries and see what I could do. But yeah, it was, I would have probably taken the jump sooner to have gone self-employed and then set up my own business and my own companies and stuff. But for me, you got to think, I said 42. So I remember the internet screeching through a modem when I was
Yeah.
11, 12 years old. A web page took 5 minutes to load. Okay.
Yeah.
That is, we're talking, social media wasn't a thing. I think the closest we had was, I don't
MySpace.
know. We had MySpace, yeah, MySpace. There's some friend one as well, which was like I've forgotten the name of, but a lot of the stuff now just didn't exist. But yeah, I would have definitely, been taken more risks younger. Yeah, because what I found is that all the good stuff, all the really wonderful things are often. Have I fucked up? 100%. Sometimes it's bit them in the ass, but rarely. But all of the good stuff I have, the great connections, the wonderful people, the places I've gone to, spoken at, the revenue I've generated, the lives I've helped, wonderful people I've connected with personally and freshly, on the other side of like risk, fear, and my own brain. And as soon as I start getting worried, nope, you go fuck yourself, ignore that little voice, do it anyway. Works most of the times. And you know what? The times it hasn't worked, then I think as long as you operate from a good heart, you're a good person at your core, you don't mean to hurt any people or do things wrong, nothing really bad happens.
I wanted to share a little something and then connect it to a question. So when my brother passed a few years back, me and my dad kind of developed a bit of a codependent relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously served the purpose of kind of supporting each other through the pain of the loss and grief and all of that. And then I also moved to a different country at the same time. So it obviously, again, it served the purpose at the time. But then recently, this was a couple of years back, he felt ill and the dynamics of the relationship changed a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
what I found is that there were a lot of things that I used to value that all of a sudden I wasn't valuing anymore. And some other things that I never thought that I wanted to do, all of a sudden I was really motivated to do. So obviously, I know that obviously you went through
Mm-hmm.
because of your dad recently. And I also know that a lot of your why is connected to your little sister. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering if at the back of what happened with your dad, you felt like there was a bit of an existential change as well. And if the dynamics in terms of what your purpose is changed as well.
Yeah, there is, mate, and I'm not being deliberately obtuse, but the next version of me is actually based off of that. That's sort of not public yet, but yeah, there was a shift on how I wanted to show up in my business online as a coach. There was, I've got to be very careful here. It's nothing dodgy, but it's like it's not there, it's not out there yet. But
Mhm.
how I wanted to help people, still similar, but there's a few things that actually have become more important to me since losing dad. And I don't want people to build these businesses and these careers and do stuff to let those certain things go. There's a lot more interplay. It's a bit more holistic rather than all about the money. And I'm not being dismissive. To those who maybe don't have as much money who are listening, money is really important. And if people say money doesn't buy happiness, I'm going to actually say, well, maybe not specifically, but it gives you freedom and it gives you options and it gives you time and it makes your life a lot easier. So I am a big believer in helping people earn what they, would like to earn, but not at the expense of their life, their relationships, their happiness, their health, so on and so forth. So one thing that I found is that some of the things that were missing from my life in the past, or maybe I didn't see as they were important, but I'd maybe let them slide a little bit. I actually doubled down on. So I reconnected with all my old school friends. I'm the person that makes people meet up, go together. And I remember sending a chat to my boys. We're all the same sort of age. And I said, look, we get to see each other now once every 3 years. So we've got 13 more times max before we're dead. So do you want to do something about that? So we've actually, we've got a group chat going again. We're doing that. I spend more quality time with the right people. So I've doubled down on the good relationships. So I spend more time with my mum and my sister, my old school friends, my friends I've met from doing work and stuff. You don't need shit tons of friends. You need a handful of high quality ones with good relationships open. I've also spent more time with people in person. I love the online space. Fucking wonderful. It's changed my life, but I've made sure to bring people together, actually connect with people, go to events, arrange things, do things. Actual quality in-person time has been really key. And it's also made me very, very, very disciplined with what I will and won't allow. There's a lot of boundaries in my life now that weren't there before, and I'm very disciplined with my time. No ego, not being arrogant about this, but having seen my dad's life ebb away over 6 months, and how he just wanted a little bit more time. Your time is the most precious thing you have. If it doesn't serve me, it's just a no from me. And it's not a no with an excuse. It's not a no because of a reason. It's just a no, thank you. I'm really tight with my time, and I really focus my energy on the people that are important in the places that energize me, doing the things that I should be doing. Outside of that, gone. Really, really tight with my time now. That's been the biggest thing. It's just understanding how precious your time is and your health as well. And those two things, yes, I'm fortunate to be able to focus on a little harder than most because I've built the businesses the way I've built, with freedom being a big part of my personal drivers. But yeah, those were some really, really big shifts for me. And honestly, especially online, there's a lot of posturing, look at this body part, look at this watch, look at this car, look at my fancy holidays. And that's fine. If you've worked hard for things, nothing wrong with showing them. Okay, nothing wrong with saying, I did a poster, I said I'm leanest I've ever been. Could call it a little thirsty maybe, but I was really fucking proud of it. I fucking broke my ass to get it. The nice thing was, I currently have got 32 messages from people who are now going to start up training, who've had surgery and get back onto it. So I wrote it in a way that was like, look, try not to be a little fucking thirst trap wanker, but here's this. So I do share your successes and things, but for me, a lot of the stuff that I thought was important, I just didn't give a fuck about, to be honest with you. It's just like, cool, you've got, several sports cars and several Rolexes. You live in Dubai. Good for you. Get fucked. Like, if it makes you happy, I'm not sorry. And if you're listening and you're one of those people and you've worked hard for it, like, good on you. Like, share, like I said, I'm still saying share your things, but I wanted that life before I wanted to, I've had all the toys, all the shiny things, all the watches. I've stayed in all the fanciest hotels. I've been all the best, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what? It's been fun. I had a great time. Not going to lie. But what's really important is the people you spend your time with, how you spend your time, and what you do with it as well. And I've just really focused on those areas.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. So, just it's not necessarily related, but obviously, like, the reasons why you do things changed a lot over time. And I'm sure that Dan, that started all of this had probably, different urgencies and different reasons. So how do you feel those shifted, and how did they shift?
Yeah, it started off with obviously those two things, first of all, to earn enough revenue to make sure that my sister was safe. I didn't want her, again, some people who do wonderful jobs in these spaces, but I remember seeing a documentary which was based in the kind of area where I live. It was like care homes for adults with special needs as dispatches, I believe it was, many, many years ago. And they weren't treated very nicely. And I thought, cool, well, I want to be able to have enough money to look after my sister and make sure that she's safe. So that was my altruistic one. Non-altruistic one, I just want to be successful. I want to be wealthy. I want to have money. I want to do things because no one I knew did. And I thought, well, fuck it, I'm going to do it. As I've got older, still enjoy being successful. My values haven't changed. So even when I wanted to be, Anna plus success, the key value was I wanted to help people. Not naturally. I wouldn't say like sort of like depressed or anything like that. It's sort of like, demeaning those who have like clinical depression, but not always been the happiest, but I've always made other people happy. And I thought, well, if I help other people be happy and be successful, that makes me feel good. So that's kind of like my medicine. So I was always wanted to serve and help and give. That's always been the core thing. And then I realized I could turn that into a business as well. So I thought, cool, if I do this the right way, that's good. That hasn't changed. I still want to help people. I still want to help people change their lives. But I myself am just incredibly happy and centered and content now. So now I'm doing it from a really strong place because I'm good. My life is fantastic. I'm really fucking happy, centered. Everything's great. Okay. So now I'm in an even better place to make more of an impact. And honestly, mate, my goal now is to be as free as I possibly can. I don't want to be I like work. I work, a certain amount per week. I have plenty of time off. I have a week off every 4 weeks. I really like the balance of my life. Too little work and devil makes work for idle hands. Bad things will happen. Too much work, I'll get burnt out. I won't be able to do my job as well. So I've kind of got a nice little sweet spot at the moment. But now, so on the personal side is I just don't want anyone to tell me what to do. And if I decide, fuck it, I'm going to this country to work for a little while, or I'm going to take this day off and go do that, or I want to launch this business or create this product, I just do it. So for me, I'm in a place where I want to be, my freedom is really important to me, and that's freedom to explore. So explore my fitness. What can I do with my body? What can I do with new businesses? What can I do in different markets I've never been into before? So I'm in a really exciting place where I'm curious again. I'm trying things again. So that's kind of the difference between the two.
Did you always know that you would have got to this place, like being so happy with your life? Or
I said to myself, so my mentor at the time said to me, she said, would you sacrifice 5 to 7 years of your life to have the rest of the life living how you wanted to it? And I emphatically said yes. That's exactly what I've done. So I'm now in a position where I can give or take, do what I want. That wasn't the case. That's off the back of 2-3 years of real fucking batshit work, and then another, 4 years or so of pretty, of graft as well. And it's been worth it, 100%. I made some sacrifices. I made some choices. For me currently, currently single, no partner, no kids or anything. Obviously had some wonderful relationships. Unfortunately, one, fell by the wayside as my career started hockey sticking because I wasn't able to give that the attention it needed. Wonderful human being.
would you have changed your back?
She was a very good person. She, for us, very happy now, as far as I'm aware. Very, very good soul. Wasn't able to see the mistakes I was making because I was so into the work. In my head, I thought, I was doing the right thing, building, providing. But, again, things happen for a reason. So there's no regrets per se. It's just a thing that happened. I had my mission. I wanted to build the business, something that could last me for a lifetime. I wanted to make sure Anna was sorted. And I always said to myself, I'd get to a certain point where everything was kind of good. Then I'd be like, look back to, right, what do I need to address? And then I'm sort of working through that now. Do I advise it for everyone? No. I decided to go. I was in a position where I could go hard and I could go all in. I could work long hours. I've got a very good work capacity. I can work really hard for quite a few days without megally perfect sleep. Again, do not recommend this. I chose to do it. I knew there'd be repercussions, and I was happy to accept the consequences of the result of that. But then I also knew if I got to a certain point, and if I backed myself to get to where I was, I can then go, cool, let's address that. Let's go do and undo some of the damage I've done to my body and my mindset. Let's get all those things fixed. And that's what I did. But I was very happy to make those sacrifices. And I thought, well, 5 years for another 40 plus, living however you want. Yeah, I'll take that bet every time.
And that's obviously because you were conscious of what your goal was and what you actually wanted. So what would you say to someone that perhaps is a little bit confused on what they actually want, or they're struggling to choose between perhaps a life that represents what their parents or the family want for them, or perhaps they're split between pushing to develop a relationship or pushing with their career? How would you go about making a choice?
I mean, it's a personal choice, buddy. That's the thing. You have to do what's right for you and think to yourself, if I make this decision, am I going to be happy with this, a few weeks or months from now, a year from now, 5+ years from now? Think about a you that doesn't exist in the future. I was prepared to make those sacrifices. I was in a position where I could do so. You might be listening, you might have a partner, children, you might not have the best health, you might not have access to resources. I don't know who's listening to this. So you have to decide. You decide the level you want to play at, how hard you want to play, and are you prepared to accept the consequences of your actions? And consequences can be bad or good. You have to decide.
For sure.
So I think it's a case of it's getting really clear on what's important to you and why it's important to you. Okay, that's the first thing. Before you start diving headlong into stuff, get clear on that. And once you're kind of got a rough idea of what you want to do, just start doing stuff. Pick a direction, go into it. Thing is, a lot of people want the perfect plan or strategy or goal to do something. So there's 2 or 3 things you want to do. Pick the one you like the most that you think you can probably see that, give it a go. And the fact is, you're starting motion. And even if it doesn't pan out, we go, cross that one off. Let's try these 2 next. Go on to the next one. Sitting and thinking is good. It's good to ponder. It's good to reflect. It's good to understand. But eventually, you just got to fucking knuckle down and start doing stuff.
Yeah, take action for sure. Well, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for your time. Anything
You
else
are
you'd like to
welcome.
say?
I just wanted to say, just personally, obviously, for those who don't know me, you have every single right to think I'm a complete knobhead. That is fine. I hope you don't think I'm too much of a knobhead, but if you do, that's okay. There's a little phrase that I heard, I can't remember where it's good, and I said this, I think, at the event where I met you at, is eat the meat and spit out the bone. So what that means is that if there's something that that resonated for me today, just take that bit. If there's something that you don't like, throw it away. Take what you can get from, and that's from anyone. So you can learn from all different sorts of people. So from listening to me chat, if there's something you like, just the other thing, that's fucking nonsense, Dan, not for me. Throw it away. But take the bits you like. And I will just say personally, Julian, you're an absolutely lovely human being, mate. You made an effort to come up and connect with me. Very polite, kind, respectful, friendly. You're a fucking good dude, mate. And personally, for anyone that's listening, that's either working with Julian or interacts Julian, if you haven't met him in real life, he's a fucking lovely human being, and he's fucking offensively good looking. Pisses me off.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.